Welcome to the Inspired Podcast. I'm your host, Andrea De La Cerda, and each week I'm bringing you the latest discussions and news about changes in the landscape of education and entrepreneurship. As a 22-year entrepreneur, corporate executive, business coach, and leader, I mentor a community of change-making men and women to get out of their box and step into their true calling to make the biggest impact on this world. This podcast is all about empowering us all, navigating life's twists and turns, and stepping into the fullest version of who we're meant to be. Thrilled to be back for a new season of the Inspired Podcast, and we're starting with a bang. But first, a content warning. This episode discusses financial abuse, postpartum challenges, food insecurity, and the struggles of single motherhood that might be difficult for some listeners. So please listen with care. I want to tell you about the night I stood in a grocery store checkout line with two small kids and watched every credit card get declined. Debit card declined. Credit card declined. Another card declined. The cashier looked at me eventually with pity. The line I could see behind me was growing impatient, and my kids were just asking when we could go home. But I had to leave a full cart of food at the register, drive home, and make celery with peanut butter and raisins and pretend it was a fun dinner adventure so my kids wouldn't actually see their mother falling apart. That moment wasn't bad luck, and it wasn't irresponsibility either. It was the direct result of a decision I made earlier, a decision that I was told was the right one. The choice to stay at home. What no one told me, that choice would actually cost me over $324,000 in lifetime earnings. It would strip me of options. It would trap me financially when I needed freedom the most. And the worst part, it wasn't really my choice. So if you've ever felt like the default parent, maybe if your career slowed the moment that you had kids, if you've ever felt financially dependent in a way that scares you, then this episode is for you. Today, we're talking about the motherhood penalty, the very real, very documented financial cost that women pay simply for becoming caregivers. This isn't about guilt. It's not about blaming mothers or fathers for that matter. It's just about the truth and what we do once we finally see it clearly. So let's get into it. Here's my story. I was 26, newly married, and finishing my teaching credential when I found out I was pregnant. I could see two lines. I'm feeling both joy and fear somehow all at the same time. And later that year, 7 months pregnant, I brought up the topic of going back to work after the baby was born that summer. But my husband's response was not what I expected. He said, "You're a mom now. Mothers don't belong at work." And that was it. No discussion, no compromise. That day, I remember sitting in my car after that, just sobbing because I knew I was about to give up everything I'd ever worked for. And I did. I disappeared into motherhood. I loved my children deeply, don't get me wrong, but I also lost myself quietly. I watched my peers at the office advance while my resume seemed to just freeze in time. I measured my worth by spotless counters, successful nap times, and silent approval. Early on, I learned the unspoken rule. If I wasn't home in the early evening with toys picked up and dinner ready, I would feel the consequences of that. Sometimes that was silence or coldness or withdrawal. One night, after weeks of that silence, I thought, the rest of my life is just a long time to not be me. And when I finally left, I had no income, no recent work history, and no safety net. And that's how I ended up in that grocery store with declined cards and a feeling suddenly of no personal power. That's what I mean by the motherhood penalty. My story isn't rare, it's systemic. According to the National Women's Law Center, women who leave the workforce to care for children lose an average of $324,000 over their lifetime. And that number doesn't just come from missed paychecks. It can come from lost wage growth, missed promotions, no retirement contributions, reduced Social Security pay, career gaps that follow you for decades. And for higher earning women, that number can exceed $1 million over the course of their lives. $1 million. And while women pay this penalty, men at the same time receive a fatherhood bonus. Fathers, the research tells us, earn more after having children. Mothers are seen as less committed, less promotable, and sometimes less reliable. But the same life event and opposite outcomes. It's not biology, it's just simply vibes. Many people love to say, and I hear this all the time, women choose to stay home. Well, you chose to stay at home, but here's what that choice really looks like. Childcare costs more than take home pay. Employers refuse to provide flexible work schedules at times. Women still do most caregiving even when both parents work. And cultural and religious pressure can frame this sacrifice as a virtue. That's not a choice. That's impossible math. And right now, social media is repackaging that inequality as aesthetic. Some of you I know have seen the latest trad wife fantasy, making dependence look so romantic without showing the risk. Financial dependence isn't nostalgic, it's dangerous, especially when things go wrong. So, what do? Whether you're staying home, working full time, or somewhere in between, you protect your economic power. This is so important. That means joint financial transparency. So, putting life insurance and retirement in your name, building your own personal credit, maintaining your skills and professional networks, and building income streams that honor your season in life, and demanding equal caregiving and not just help from your partner. And if you're choosing a partner, choose someone who sees your earning power not as essential in the world and not as optional. That right partner multiplies your freedom, and the wrong one can bankrupt it. I think about that grocery store night often. I am grateful to the woman that I was then because she refuses to stay powerless. Here's what I need you to hear today. You can love your children and protect your financial future. You can have both. You can be present and powerful. You don't have to trade motherhood for security. But you do have to choose yourself before the crisis chooses for you. Don't wait until the cards decline. Build your economic power now. Protect it fiercely and never give it away because your freedom and your children's freedom depends on it. So this week, I'm challenging you to know your numbers. Take one action to strengthen your financial independence and then DM me on Instagram at Andrea DLC_coach and tell me what you chose. Until then, your economic freedom is not selfish. It's safety and it's survival. Take care.